You know what I don't understand? This is like just really random, but I think about this because I do this every time I turn the camera on. Why does the camera unfocus itself just because I turned it off? Like, I normally leave everything in the same place. Like, I have real bad OCD, and so if I move stuff, it throws everything off. And my camera, I normally leave it on this tripod, and it just because I like the same angles and I like consistency and stuff like that. But every time I sit down and turn the camera on, I have to mess with it to refocus it, even though the last time I turned it off, it was already in focus. Like, why? Like, with the technology we have, shouldn't it just remember, like, hey, just keep it in focus? I'm in the same exact spot that I was. Anyways, I don't have my watch on, so I don't know what date it is. I know that it is Wednesday. I think it's the 28th of August. I think it's the 28th. If it's not, it's no big deal. At least I know that it is Wednesday. I had a very busy day today, and I had a couple of people that I have, since I began doing these new videos, there has been a lot of new people that have joined the Theology Nights community, and I've had a lot of new friends, and I've been lucky enough to just really grow the platform over this last month. And I have a lot of people that ask me, what do I do for a living? And it's like a funny question because a lot of people think that I do this full-time. Some people think that I am a pastor full-time. And then some people just, they don't have any idea. So I wanted to do a quick video just to kind of summarize what it is that I do, because I had so many people that ask, and I thought it'd be interesting because for some of you that have followed me for a while, I'm sure you're aware, but maybe you missed some of the videos. A lot has changed in the last 3 months of life, and so why don't we just go ahead and update everybody for my daily vlog video. So, first and foremost, I am a pastor. I am associate pastor of a local Southern Baptist church. Interesting note about that church is it is the former church I was associate pastor at, and unfortunately my wife and I felt like the Lord was leading us away. At that time, this was about 1.5 years or so ago, and we made the tough decision to leave, and it was very unfortunate, and it was a very long season for my wife and I leading up to this when we left. And then, like I said, unfortunately, I had to step down. And then in the sovereign plan of the Lord, He brought us back to this church, and we could not be happier. Like, it's just crazy to see what has happened over the last 1.5 years. The guys that I get to serve with now are some of my closest friends, and it's just crazy when I like stop and I think like, oh my gosh, like I'm a pastor of this church again. Like it was my first pastoral role. It was where my wife and I got married. It is very near to my heart, and so like I said, it was really tough for us to leave. But then when the Lord brought us back there, it just like I remember when the pastor asked us, the guy who's the pastor now, who is one of my dearest friends, who I love with all of my heart. I remember when he approached me and he said, "Would you be interested in coming back?" I instantly thought he was joking. Like I really did. And then I talked to him for a little while, and he wasn't joking. And then and this was back when I was employed. As I was driving home from work that day, I remember thinking in my head, like, how in the world am I going to bring this up to my wife? Like, what am I going to do? Like, how am I going to approach this topic? And then we began the journey of just like praying through it and seeking counsel and praying together. And then the Lord just started moving stuff around, and I ended up preaching there one Sunday. And then that Sunday, my wife, as we were leaving church, she said, we really need to pray about this. And so we did. We prayed for the next couple of weeks, sought more counsel. We went back and visited another time, and then we ended up going back. And so I was reinstalled as associate pastor a couple of weeks ago officially. We couldn't be happier. So that's my primary role. If you want to, that's just my life. Like I'm just a pastor. So I don't have like Monday through Friday office hours. I'm just a pastor. So that's just what I do. So that's number one. Number two, I guess this is number two. I kind of have a lot of like jobs, I guess you could really say. So right now, a couple of months ago, I was let go from my job, and many of you know that, and I've shared privately behind the scenes with many people as well. And so I'm not going to get into all that. But my full-time job, I was let go from that, and so everything changed in life. And it was around that time where I really felt like the Lord was telling me to like change my perception of life and really reevaluate what I was being called to do. And so for the longest time, I mean, I'm 36 now, so for the last 20 years, I've just looked at life as you go to work Monday through Friday, or whatever your full-time schedule is. You clock in and you clock out, and that's just what you do. You go to work for somebody. And I always thought that's just what I was going to do forever. And so it was around that time when I got let go that my perception of work really changed. And that's when I began to really have this desire to work for myself, to be self-employed, obviously to be a pastor. But again, I don't consider that work. Like that's not like that's not like I'm just always a pastor. So I don't really consider that to be like a Monday through Friday type job. But I really began to feel like the Lord was calling me to do pastoral ministry and do Theology Nights ministry full time, and then create streams of income to support myself and my wife in order for me to focus all of my time on ministry. And so that's what I've been focusing on over the last 3.5 months. Now, I've had some interviews for some jobs, and I've had some opportunities that I thought that the Lord was really going to open up for us, and it didn't end up happening. So throughout this time, to keep an income coming in, I have been doing Uber and Lyft and the food delivery, and I do a grocery delivery service. So that's like my day job, if you want to call it that. And that even in itself is not really a job either, because I love doing it. Like that's what I did all day today. I worked for, I don't know, 9-ish I went out about, and I stopped at about 4:30, and then I went grocery shopping. I came home for a little bit and I had lunch with my wife, and but I was just out, I was just out Ubering, and I get to interact with people, and I get to talk about Christ with people, because everybody always asks, like, is this your full-time job? And is this what you do? Like, or do you do other stuff? And then I always get to tell people, no, I'm a pastor. And then like a lot of times the conversation shifts in one direction or another. Okay. So it'll shift towards somebody being really engaging with me for the rest of our car ride, or they're just completely silent for the rest of the car ride. The best is when people are swearing up and down, and then they ask me what I do, and I tell them I'm a pastor. They instantly change who they are. It's like, I've never heard swear words before. And it's just so funny, like people's reactions to me saying that I'm a pastor. But I use those opportunities. We get to talk about Christ. And now that the students are back at YSU, I've been driving a lot of students downtown. And so I tell them, our church is right up the road. If you ever want to join us, we'd love to have you. And so I use all of those opportunities to talk about Christ. And I love it. I love to drive. Just absolutely love to drive. I love to talk to people, and so this is kind of like the merging of two of my favorite things together. So I do that during the week, just Monday through Friday daytime hours. Keeps me busy, brings in an income. I'm certainly not going to be able to retire from it, but for right now, it's bringing money in. So that's number 2. That's 2, 3, 4, 5, because there's 4 apps that I use. And then the third that I do, I started a business. I started a company, Weber Media, LLC. We are official. With Weber Media, our goal is to do social media management, video and podcast production, editing, promotion, instruction, tips, things like that, and then do web and SEO, search engine optimization. Those are things that I feel very passionate about. Those are the things that I've done for a very, very long time. And as I was mentioning before, when my job changed, I began to think through what it would look like to be self-employed. I began to look through and read things and figure out a way how I could bring in income without having to rely on ministry income, because I want to do that full time, but I don't want to have to worry about money. And the idea of starting a business came through. So I'm still really in the early process of this business. I am mainly in the recruiting phase, where I am seeking out clients, and I have a lot of people that I've interacted with, just waiting for that big break, if you want to say, where it starts to bring in an income for myself and my wife, and it could be the thing that I do forever. and then I wouldn't have to worry about, doing Uber, and I wouldn't have to worry about a part-time job or anything like that. I could just run this business and pastor and do theology nights. That's the ultimate goal. So those are really the 7 things that I do: 4 apps, pastoring, theology nights, Weber Media. So what is that? 4, 5, 6, 7. That's 7 things. So I have 7 different jobs, if you want to call it that. But it's a really weird season because I don't have 7 incomes, as you can imagine. But the thing is, throughout all of this time, because this has been a really challenging season for my wife and I. It has been difficult. I've lost a lot of sleep, and my mental health has been very up and down. I'm tired, it's just very emotional. I've been discouraged. I've shared on the channel before how I've been up and down emotionally, and it's just tough to kind of know that the Lord is calling you to do something, but then from like an earthly perspective, it doesn't seem like that's working out, and then my mindset shifts because I need to bring in an income, so then I focus all of my attention on how am I going to bring in income, what can I do to make money, let's focus on that, let's get better at those skills, and then I completely miss Christ, and I miss my spiritual devotions, and I miss all the things that He's first and foremost called me to do because I'm so focused on making money. And I've shared that before. I've shared how that is a struggle of mine, and it also is just the reality of what we do. You just need money to live. I feel like I said that every other episode. But the comforting thing throughout all of this season is that, like, even in those times where I've just sort of shook my fist at God, and I've really questioned what's going on, why are these things happening like this? What are you leading me to do? I really feel like you're leading me to do this, but then it's not working out, and all of these things, and all those moments, the Lord has really just used various people and sermons and books to like wake me back up. There's been various seasons in this last 3.5 months where I've just been completely like neglecting any spiritual disciplines, and as I've shared before, that's wrong. To the people that I shepherd at our church on this platform, that's wrong, and I can't do that, and I can't allow myself to fall into the trap of that. But the Lord has been so gracious throughout all of these months and these weeks now, to where He's just reminded me, like, hey, this is what you're called to do. You need to seek me first, and I will provide for you all these things that you need. So that's pretty much it. I don't really have anything else going on. Like I said, I'm kind of trying to make a pretty hard push right now with being out and driving and making some money and stuff like that, and trying to recruit clients, and really sort of just praying through various things and stuff that I feel like the Lord's leading me to do. And so if you would pray for me, if you would pray for my wife, if you would pray for the ministry of Theology Nights, because I really feel like I'm on the verge of just saying, like, I'm taking it to a next level, and I'm gonna work really hard, and I really feel like I'm about to come out of this, like I feel like I'm holding myself back, and I feel like I'm almost out of that. So would you pray for me that the Lord would keep shaping me and molding me, and He would use this season to grow me. A good friend of mine told me, use this season for good. Take advantage of this time. Use this every single day to improve yourself, to improve your love for Christ, to improve your knowledge of Scripture. And, I confess that I have not done that as best as I should. Thankfully, the Lord is still gracious to remind me of what my calling is. He's put many of you in front of me to encourage me and to pray for me and send me messages. So this video is kind of just dedicated to you guys, to just say thank you for the support and for watching the videos and for sending me messages. And listen, if you want to chat about something behind the scenes, send me a message. We're on Facebook, facebook.com/Theology Nights, and make sure you click the subscribe button over here, click the bell, and join us every Tuesday night at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time for the live show. And I will see you guys on the next one. Have a great night, guys. See you.